Your Honor,
The two oldest children are living with
you all
me.
sleep on the floor.
And I will drop them off. Well, what happened with the TPO is on November 27th. I asked Miss Hall I've been sleeping on the floor for 4.5 months in my office. I asked her, if she can move. She agreed she would move to the downstairs bedroom where all her clothing is. She decided she was not going to move, and she got upset. And I told her that, the relationship was ending. I cannot sleep on the floor, and all of her children are sleeping in a bed, and I take care of all the bills in the home. So what happened is Miss Hall decided, when I told her I was going to contact the police, she decided she would call the police.
Oh, please don't tell me we have another episode of All My Children. She said all her children? How many kids are we talking about here? Definitely one too many for her to have a bed, all of her kids to have a bed, and for the person who's paying for all the bills for them to sleep comfortably, for that person to be sleeping on the floor. This is out of order. These modern rebellious women, they can't get along with anybody. They try to jump to another race or another gender, but you're always going to run into the same problem because the problem is you. You are the problem. Take a second to make sure that you're subscribed to the channel. Click the notification bell for all updates. Won't waste any time. Let's get into it.
All right. So both Ms. Halls and just yourselves as witnesses?
Yes.
All right. Y'all both raise your right hands really quick for me. Y'all swear affirm testimony you're going to give is the truth, total truth, nothing but the truth. Ms. Sharon Hall?
Do.
All right.
I
and Ms.
do.
Tiffany Hall?
Yes.
Okay. So Ms. Sharon Hall, start from the most recent event and work backwards and tell me about the family violence.
Okay. Recent event on December 22nd, Mrs. Hall was served at her job. I spoke with the judge, Tamika.
No, stop. That doesn't matter about all that. I just want to know the family violence. Don't tell me what she did.
Okay. I have been dealing with Mrs. Hall on a number of occasions with knives, attempts, and cutting me and giving me stitches and pointing at me. I've had to call the police department. I've got 5 police reports here.
Let me interrupt you, Ms. Hall.
Okay.
So, most recent event, you just said knife. Okay, November of 2022, pulled a knife on me. That's what I need.
Okay.
Does this so?
Okay.
What date, roughly?
Okay, so the dates. Okay, so on January 2nd, Miss Tiffany put a gun to her head and then pointed the gun at me and told me do not move. On October 2020, Mrs. Hall cut me in front of her son and gave me 12 stitches.
Now that's in 2020?
Yeah, that was in 2020.
2022 was the gun.
Yeah, the gun was January 2nd on her other son's birthday. She pointed a gun at me. She pointed at her head first, and then she pointed it at me and told me I better not move. And then she pointed back at her head, which I then ran and called the police, and they took her to the hospital. In February, I called again because it was more threats. She was pointing the knife at me. She didn't lunge at me, but she just would point it and tell me to stay back. Our whole relationship has been about me trying to stop her from committing. My son committed. And
I'm sorry to hear that.
It's nothing but the devil all around these people. She's saying that Tiffany is constantly threatening self-deletion. So not only do we see manipulation, emotional, mental abuse, she's also getting physical with her. She's threatening to delete her as well. And then on top of all of that, she's out here cutting people. She's had to get stitches. She's doing all of this in front of her children. So far, I've counted 2 children. She has 2 boys. And then Sharon said that she had a son who self-deleted. It's like destruction is all around them. And trust me, they all have something to do with it.
But let me interrupt because there's certain things that I need to know.
Okay.
And specific things I need to know.
Okay.
So January of this year, but what specifically has happened like 2022, February, March, April, May, June, July?
Okay.
What
So
happened to make you come today or come when you did? Or I say, I want a TPO because something had to happen to me.
okay. Well, what happened with the TPO is on November 27th. I asked Miss Hall I've been sleeping on the floor for 4.5 months in my office. I asked her, if she can move. She agreed she would move to the downstairs bedroom where all her clothing is. She decided she was not going to move, and she got upset. And I told her that, the relationship was ending. I cannot sleep on the floor, and all of her children are sleeping in a bed, and I take care of all the bills in the home. So what happened is Miss Hall decided, when I told her I was going to contact the police, she decided she would call the police on me for the first time, and she told them that I had assaulted her. They came out. The police talked with me, went up to talk with her. She screamed at him, yelled at him, told him he should have talked to her first. And then he said, well, where did she hit you? And she could not tell him where. And then he had her checked out, her body, which they then said that there were no bruises or anything on her body. At that point, the police left. She told them she wanted me to go to jail, and they said she would go to jail as well. So she refused to do that because they said, as far as they're concerned, it didn't happen. So after the police left, she called her sister and her niece over here, and she requested that they beat me up and jump on me. And they didn't.
No, hold on, let me interrupt you. So, did she say that to them in front of you?
Yes, I heard her. She was upstairs.
Okay.
Yeah.
I just there's nuances that I need to hear. That's why I keep interrupting you so much.
Right. I was sitting at the bottom.
Hold on, Miss Sharon Hall. You hold on one second.
Okay.
Because Miss Tiffany Hall is going to start interrupting.
Okay.
You. Go ahead, Miss Tiffany Hall. Just respond to what she said, please.
That is inaccurate, Judge, Your Honor.
Okay.
I have had issues with ideations. I am being honest about that, but I have never, and there's not a report that I've ever threatened this woman. I need you to understand that we are in the middle of a divorce, and we have been sleeping separate since August. There has not been an issue. I do have 3 children, one being a minor child, and to be put out of our home 3 days before Christmas because we had a house built, and because I will not agree for her to keep the house, she had no other way but to concoct this whole story against me, Your Honor, so that she could have me and my children put out of our house 3 days before Christmas. I have a 12-year-old daughter, Your Honor. And yes, I do have PTSD, and I'm a survivor of domestic violence, and I'm still being abused.
They get on my last nerve with all this. Whenever they can't get out of a tough situation, one of their main strategies is always to try to cry it out. You cannot cry your way out of this. Let's start with the stitches. Did this woman have stitches, and did you cause that? What about the allegations of threatening self-deletion and then pointing it at her as well? She said you got put into the psych ward for that. Is that true or is it not? Like all this other stuff, she just saying it to try to gain sympathy. It's not going to work. And we know she has 3 children. 2 of them are adults. Her sons are adults. They live in that house along with her 12-year-old daughter. This woman, though, Sharon, is paying all the bills in the house, and she's the one sleeping on the floor.
And I would like to return home because all this stuff that she's saying, only thing is true is that I have dealt with suicidal thoughts, Your Honor. But I have never threatened her. I have never pulled a gun on her. I have never pulled a knife on her. And I need you to understand this is a ploy. This is all a part of a bigger picture that we're in the middle of a divorce, and she wants the house, and I refuse to leave my house that I own. I co-own with her, and she works for law firms, and she has all these judges in her pocket, or so she tells her.
No, ma'am.
Yeah, no.
I need to share it home. Nobody has a judge in their pocket. If
not you.
I'm not saying you're saying me, but I'm also not going to let you talk about the judiciary like that.
Right.
Miss Sharon Hall, stay out of it. I got it. They would have. So don't even go there.
Okay, I'm letting you what I have been threatened with and what her intimidation factors are. Your Honor. She works for a law firm.
Both of you stop.
I have a minor child who is sleeping on the floor with me at my older daughter's house, all due to a lie, Your Honor.
All right, so that's child number 4. She's got an older daughter. That's where she and her youngest daughter, they're living at right now, and they're sleeping on the floor. She's telling the judge this in order to gain sympathy, but she cared nothing about making Sharon sleep on the floor. When she was paying all the bills, everybody else had a bed except for her. And honestly, they're really here because of her selfishness. If she had been reasonable in all of this, they wouldn't even be here. But the modern woman is selfish. And 100% unreasonable doesn't matter if they're dealing with a man or a woman. Whether it's a relationship or a friendship, they're unreasonable. And this is why it's hard for anybody to deal with them.
And yes, I refused to press charges because I didn't feel like I needed to go to jail when someone assaulted me. I called the police first, and then subsequently she called them a few minutes later. So I'm hoping that you see through the bigger picture here, Your Honor.
Can I speak, Your Honor?
Hold on, Ms. Free's emailing me this police report because I looked over it already.
Both of her children are still here with me. Her oldest.
No, I have a 12-year-old who is not there.
The 12-year is with her father.
No, she was with her father for the holiday. My daughter lives there.
See, Tiffany, this is why I can't believe you. Sharon said 2 of her kids are still there with her. She's talking about the adult sons. She's not talking about the daughter. But as soon as Sharon said that, she didn't say, no, my sons aren't there. She said, no, my daughter isn't there. She wasn't talking about your daughter. She was talking about the sons. And according to Sharon, your youngest daughter is with her father. I'm sorry, I don't believe Tiffany. And for Sharon to pay the bills and sleep on the floor, allowing her kids to have a bed, allowing Tiffany to have a bed, she didn't strike me as a person who would just throw everybody out for no reason. The person who's causing the problems here is Tiffany.
Stop. Ms. Free is emailing me the police report where you were served. So, and it concerns me, ma'am, Miss Tiffany Hall. Sorry, you're both Hall, so you just have to apologize. You're unfit. That concerns me, Miss Tiffany Hall.
Which part, Your Honor?
Have you seen the police report?
No, Your Honor, I haven't.
So you were there when you were, Ms. Free, you emailed it, right?
I'm sorry?
You can email that police report to my email?
Yes.
Okay. So you were there, right, Miss Tiffany Hall? So you know what happened.
I was there at the residence, and I know what happened. Yes, I know what happened. I'm not sure what she told them happened. Which day are you referring to? Is it November 27th or December 22nd?
Hold on, it's taking a minute for the email to get here.
Yes, ma'am.
Because I want you to see exactly what it says.
Okay. And can I make a statement about my 12-year-old daughter? She is in school. She's supposed to return back to school on Tuesday. And yes, she was with her father, but now she's back with me because their pipes busted. And so she's with me. She's with me 100% of the time. She was just with him for a week. She was supposed to return home on the 23rd, but of course.
Miss Tiffany Hall.
Okay, good. She cleared that up. Her youngest daughter is back with her. But guess what? This is not a child custody case. She continues to insert her daughter in order to gain sympathy, but it's not going to work. The judge is concerned about this police report. You're in court for a TPO, not child custody. And honestly, with all your mental problems, her father should be going to court to get her full time from you. You're not mentally stable.
Yes.
Now listen. This police officer says when they made entry in the home, they observed you with an 8 to 10 inch knife in your right hand.
Yes, I threatened to kill myself, and they let me out that same night, Your Honor. I have paperwork that I can also email you to tell you that I was discharged.
You told the cop, why don't you just shoot me?
Yes.
Miss Tiffany, no, Miss Tiffany Hall.
I told the cop, why don't you just shoot me? Take me out of my misery.
Miss Tiffany Hall, Miss Tiffany Hall, Miss Tiffany Hall, Tiffany Hall, Tiffany Hall, Tiffany Hall. Miss Tiffany Hall, I am worried about you.
Because
Miss Tiffany Hall, please just listen to me.
Yes, ma'am. Yes, ma'am. Okay. I apologize.
But we're going to grant this because y'all are going to get a divorce, and that's phenomenal. But I'm sure that Miss Sharon Hall still cares about you and does not want you to harm yourself. Miss Tiffany Hall, just please listen to me and don't interrupt me. The world is a much better place with you here. You have children, you have other people that love you, and please get the help that you need. Please get the help that you need. Who cares what Sharon Hall's doing? You should not care what Sharon Hall's doing. What you need to do, Miss Tiffany Hall, is to take care of you for your children. I want you to do that, Ms. Tiffany Hall. Please do that. I do not want you to be a statistic, and a horrible statistic. This hurts my heart. Mr. Gales, stop putting stuff in the chat right now. Because when you do that, Mr. Gales, that's you violating the TPO. Unless you're telling me you love me. Now, Miss Tiffany Hall.
Yes, ma'am.
Miss Sharon Hall. I'm sure Miss Tiffany Hall needs to get some belongings for her or the children.
Yes.
There are sheriffs that do standbys, but they're a few weeks, and especially with the holiday, they do it on Tuesdays and Thursdays, 10 a.m. and 6 p.m., and they only come by for like 2 hours. So they only come by from then, and that's with a domestic standby.
Mm-hmm.
Outside of that, unless you both have someone mutual that can be there instead of y'all being there together, that can be there while she gets her things, or you can. So just stop shaking your head. Just let me.
Okay. Yeah. I'm
Miss
just.
Honor, my children I go to school.
Oh my God, like, ma'am, be quiet. Stop interrupting. This woman is crazy. Do you all know if APD had done what she told them to do, all these heathens would have been running around Atlanta tearing it up all over this mentally unstable woman? No, this lady is crazy. And Sharon Hall is right. She need to stay away from her. She's already done enough to her. And on top of all of that, she's a liar and a manipulator.
Miss Tiffany, stand by. Okay? Now, I'm going to let whoever's here in the divorce make any changes that they deem necessary, because there's a much bigger picture than this. But somehow, her and the children needs to get some things from Sharon Hall. So I don't know if you can get some things together. And, there's options like drop it off with a mutual friend or her friends, her parents, or somewhere. But Miss Sharon Hall, can you do that where you get some things together and drop them off? So where would you drop them off?
Well, her 2 children are still here with me.
Your Honor.
The 2 oldest children are living with
me.
me.
Sleep on the floor.
And I will drop them off. I can have them help me drop them off at her.
This is a 5-bedroom house, Your Honor.
At her mother's house.
No, I don't talk to my mother's, ma'am.
Stand by.
Yeah, that's unfortunate.
Miss Sharon Hall. So
yes.
Now, are you talking about the kids?
My 12-year-old daughter.
You want the children to stay at grandma's house for mom?
No, the children, her 2 children are staying with me right now while she's not here.
Okay.
And
my child is 21 and 18.
21 and 18. Yeah.
So the children that are there, you don't mind if they stay there until
we can, yes, I don't have a problem. And they've asked me, can they stay here? They've asked me.
Okay. So whatever she needs to be dropped off at her mother's.
Okay.
You guys can do that, right?
Yes, I can.
Okay. That's what I need. I need you folks to do that. And Miss Tiffany Hall and Miss Sharon Hall, I need you to both put your email in the chat. We're going to send you a copy of this. Miss Tiffany Hall, I really, more than anything, want you to get help for yourself. Please.
But what about my 12-year-old daughter? You want her to go sleep on the floor when she has...
Where's the 12-year-old staying, Miss Sharon Hall?
The 12-year-old was just recently with her father, and she asked, could she go live with her father? As a matter of fact, this year she asked her mom.
That's not true. That is not true.
Whoa. Okay. I don't need that.
Okay. Well, she's
stuck.
Mm-hmm.
So she can be with her.
Yes.
That's fine.
Yes.
Okay.
Yeah.
Y'all both put your emails in the chat. We'll send you copies. Miss Tiffany Hall, please get some help. Please. But we're going to place in there that anything you folks agree to in the divorce that can modify issues in the TPO, okay?
Okay.
So, Miss Tiffany Hall cannot contact Miss Sharon Hall at all. I mean, for the divorce, y'all are going to have contact at court, but you cannot do that.
I see nothing but the devil all over this woman. It's like her soul is gone and she's a shell. I do feel sorry though for her 12-year-old daughter and anyone forced to cross paths with this woman, really her children. Do you notice that her kids are aware that she's a problem? Her 2 sons, 18 and 21, they work things out with Sharon and they will stay with her for a while. so they can get some time and get on their feet. The 12-year-old is trying to move in with her father. And her oldest daughter, I'm sure she's ready to get away from it all because it's just too much. Tiffany, though, she's not trying to give up that 12-year-old. That's why I think the father should really get before a judge ASAP and get emergency custody of his daughter, because this woman cannot be trusted. She's shown that she will harm herself and others, and she's a grown woman. The 12-year-old is the one I'm concerned about here. I think Tiffany should go get help, get her life on track. It's plenty of programs out there willing to listen to all of her issues and help her. Tons of them available for women. She's not going to end up on the streets unless she's too stubborn. She's not talking to her mom. Then her and Sharon, they're done. If she's as toxic as I believe she is, it's only a matter of time before there's a fallout between her and her oldest daughter. She went Michael Myers on Sharon. She's always threatening self-deletion. And then Tiffany tried to get her sister and her niece to come and fight Sharon. Just crazy. I don't know, all of this is just a mess. So let's go ahead and get the conversation started. We always hear about how modern women cannot get along with men and how all the single mothers, they're going to move in together or they're going to couple up with women. Newsflash, they don't get along with women either. Don't forget that you can support this channel as well. Links to Cash App and PayPal are below. Ladies, fellas, want a balanced analysis, want the truth from a woman's perspective? Then you're going to want to subscribe to this channel and don't forget to like and share.